Oh, I was gonna ask you something, but we're live already. I'll ask you once we're offline.
Sure.
I don't think we've ever done a stream on. Have we done a stream this time on Saturday? It's Saturday, right? Right? It's Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah.
Saturday.
It's Saturday. I don't think we did.
We've always done. It's interesting. People were already reading the chat before we were live. Salva says hello. GPS. I like the proper use of punctuation.
Mm-hmm.
Michael says Ayo.
That's a cute dog.
Oh, that looks like my dog. My
yeah.
My lab. How are you? Oh, Google Cloud. Google Cloud shirt.
Yep.
Are you? I don't know if you want to talk about this. Are you doing any more interviewing?
No. Yeah.
You're in your DevOps role.
Yeah. Just doing the DevOps role. I think it's keeping me busy. Just trying to get back into the content world, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, you've been interviewing for a while though, and not just like the previous role, but what, for like a year now?
Yeah. I think I did it for a year, and I think it was good experience.
You got to do a video, man. That's a good topic. Like what you've learned from a year of interviewing.
Yeah. It's on my to-do list. I just want to make it proper, I guess. Especially because I wanna drop some big names in the video. So I make sure.
Well, you have the big three, right?
Yes, I do have the big three. Yeah, I think for now, at least I'll hold off for another 6-7 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was really nice experience just going over the process itself. Because every company had a different process.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm kind of familiar with how different companies hire. And also, I've also learned what I want to do, which is good, I guess. I won't be just applying to jobs.
Mm-hmm. So you're more focused now?
More focused. And yeah, that's why I want to wait, like give 6 or 7 months is I have those kind of, you could say, I don't want to say dream role, but at least what I want to do for the next 5 years.
Do you want to tell us? Or
yeah, I think I'm focusing more towards it'll be public cloud and also DevOps, I think. Especially like SDLC, so software development lifecycle. I found that I recently had some exposure at my current job, and the process itself was amazing because it involves a lot of cross teamwork. So like I was working with developers, I was working with QA engineers, trying to figure out what kind of testing do we need, even though I don't know anything about testing. But it is nice to see like how many different jobs we have in the tech field, and working with them closely, like it opens up, gives you more perspective. So yeah, I think at least for the next few years, I want to focus on that. And I'll still keep pushing out content, whether it be streams with you, YouTube videos, blogs, and also I think I want to make like Learn to Cloud a really good platform.
I do too, for sure.
Yeah. So that's, I think these are some areas that I want to focus now, instead of just like going out applying to I don't want to say random jobs, but something that might seem interesting to me, and then going through that brutal 1-month process.
Oh my gosh, dude, I don't know how you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's cool. I mean, I'm glad you have like a focus now, and I'm glad you gained, like, you're looking at the experience as more of like, oh, I gained something, instead of like, oh, I got rejected, or oh, like, why didn't they accept me and stuff like that, right? It's a proper mindset to have, right?
Yeah.
Great day to learn cloud. Every day is a great day to learn to cloud. I'm glad you brought up the Learn to Cloud, because it's always like you and I, we're always talking about it, like how do we make it better. Boris is hi. GPS change your broadcast spot. I'm actually not at my place. I'm staying somewhere for a few days,
I was
but
gonna say that.
they have fantastic internet. So I know I've been wanting to like do a casual stream for a while, and I'm just kind of like chilling here. So I'm like, I'm gonna do it today. Learn to cloud can become a life raft for ton. Well, yeah, I know, because what it is now is just just text, and it's already it's still this day it still surprises me how like popular it is, and there's just so much we can build around it. But man, I'm having such a tough time finding any free time. You saw all the streams I have. I literally have streams scheduled for the next until the year ends. Until the year ends, and then I'm already working on scheduling the ones for January. And it's like, how do I find time to like work on it? But I'm really hoping like probably like holiday time would be a good one. Yeah. But we'll see. I wanted to ask you there's something about DevOps. Like you focusing on DevOps. I can't remember. But anyway, besides that, how you been? I feel like we haven't spoken in a while.
Yeah, I think it's been at least 3 weeks. 2-3 weeks, yeah. Yeah. Just some stuff around family. So yeah.
Your hair's a lot longer. Your hair grows super fast, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hair is super long. Oh. Yeah, I think that was it. I was busy with a lot of personal stuff. I know I took some days off from work too, just to get like back in the right mindset. Yeah, things been crazy. A lot of going around, I think, was involved, which took a lot of time. But yeah, other than that, things are better now. So yeah.
You feel like you're back on track?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Also, this camera is the Surface Book 3 front, like the camera on the thing, and I'm surprised how decent it is.
It is
for a webcam of a laptop.
Yeah, when you compare it to the same kind of pro laptops.
Yeah, like a MacBook webcams are like trash. Have you tried Windows 11 yet?
I tried installing it, and I'm doing the upgrade. I'm not doing a fresh install. And I ran into issue with Hyper-V and VirtualBox. So you get an error message saying that, hey, by the way, you have this running. Make sure you upgrade to the latest version of VirtualBox. And then I'm like, okay, what's going on? So they give you a link to the. I can see.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how I feel about that. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, so it gave me the prompt gave me a link to the support article on Microsoft. I went there, and they're like, oh, there's a open issue that your virtual machines won't work if you upgrade to Windows 11 as of right now, especially in VirtualBox. You need to upgrade to the latest version of VirtualBox. I'm like, okay, I'll go to VirtualBox site, and I'm like, oh, I'm already on the latest version. And then they link to a new blog or a forum post where they're tracking Windows 11 stuff on VirtualBox. So when they're working on releasing, I think they said the target was October. So I'm waiting for that because I don't want my virtual machines to die. So yeah, otherwise I think I don't know how the process, like, will there be any more challenges? But it was good to see an error message beforehand instead of it doing an update and saying, oh, by the way, your virtual machines won't work, which would suck.
Yeah, I have a TPM. I have to like put in the registry key to bypass the TPM requirement.
Okay.
But then I know if you do that, you have to like manually do the whole thing instead of via like updating, and I just don't want to do it, so I haven't done it.
Yeah, I thought, so when I first ran the compatibility check stuff, it said the same thing. And then I went to BIOS and I had TPM. It was not enabled, and I was like, what? So I just enabled it on my
Uh-huh.
motherboard and
It
went
worked.
back in. It worked. Yeah. And then we
Hey.
tried to do the same thing for my older PC, which I still have, by the way. I don't know if I'll get rid of it or use it as a secondary or a
Mhm.
streaming PC. I don't know.
Use it as a streaming PC, dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Um, but yeah, I think I did something with Secure Boot, and at the
Mm.
time, like my brother was also using it for gaming and stuff, and now it won't boot at all. So I don't know what I did.
Time to bring out those help desk skills.
Yeah, yeah. I've tried everything. I've tried clearing the CMOS. Yeah, it won't even go to BIOS. Like I've detached every, like I had two SSDs, so there's no
Mhm.
SSD attached, and I'm like, okay, now it should go to the BIOS. Nothing. So I removed the graphics card so that I can connect the HDMI directly to the motherboard and see if something pops up. Nothing.
Mhm.
But it boots up. Like you could see the CPU fans spinning and stuff. But I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't miss those troubleshooting, those PC troubleshooting. Oh, the other day my Bluetooth kept disconnecting. My Bluetooth adapter, like the one from
Oh, okay.
on the actual
Mhm.
motherboard, and it kept doing that. You know when you pull a USB, it does like da 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 that sound. It was
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
annoying. It kept doing that, and it did it for like 30 minutes. I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. I restart, I uninstall the driver, all that kind of stuff, right?
Mhm.
And later I see this like soup. You know when sometimes you go through forums and you just see this random comment that has like no upvotes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's just you're like, there's no way it's gonna work. It literally says, turn your computer off, but turn the power supply off, and then turn it on. And like
Okay.
turn the power supply on, and then turn the computer on, and you're gonna be good. I'm like, there's no way this is gonna work, and it worked.
So like a full power recycle work.
Yeah, I don't understand why, but yeah, it worked. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Freaking computers. Yeah, by the way, this is a Surface Book 3 camera. Literally the front camera of this is, and I'm just so surprised at how decent it is. Like I could literally stream from anywhere, just this, and I have like a little external microphone. Turning PSU off discharges the caps. I didn't know that. I didn't put two and two together. But yeah, Surface Book 3 laptop camera, really good. Whole Microsoft team already migrated to Windows 11? No, definitely not. I don't think I can do my work laptop like migrate to Windows 11. I don't know if I will though, just because I appreciate a stable operating system. Not that Windows 11 isn't. It's just I'm just so much like so familiar with how this works right now that it's great. That
Yeah, yeah.
especially with streaming and with like peripherals and all that kind of stuff. It's like you never know. No reply says yo. Azure Master Race. Rishabh, are you diving more into Azure or like
Oh,
what's
yeah.
the focus in terms of cloud? What's the focus?
Azure, but so I'm talking work related stuff here. Azure with Terraform, Packer, and also a lot of DevOps. So Azure DevOps as a platform. What else? And for personal stuff, since I'm doing Terraform, I did a video about how you can deploy a basic static site to Azure storage using Terraform. But it was really basic demo. So I'm gonna do an advanced one where you have a remote backend which stores your Terraform state file, and also divide the main.tf into like variables.tf, provider.tf, and stuff like that. Like the best practices you have for Terraform. So yeah, that is my focus. And I think I have one voucher still available that I got at Ignite. So
For certification, you're back in the certification game.
I don't know. I don't know. I, I'm just confused between 400, so AZ 400, because that's where my focus is right now.
That's a
And
DevOps one, right?
yeah, the DevOps expert, because I
That's a
already,
massive certification, dude. That's
yeah,
absolute massive certification.
for sure. And because I did 104 recently, so I'm already pretty good with Azure. So it should be a good time to prepare for another certification now rather than doing it like next year, because I think my my voucher expires next year. I don't want to go it to waste. So either 400 or 204. I don't know.
Let's do the 204 together because I keep wanting to take it, but I'm like, so many things I have to prep for. How do I choose which cloud? AWS, Oracle, Azure, etc. to choose from? Choose the cloud that job, right?
Yep.
I mean, you're learning cloud or you're learning skills to get a job. Go and find the jobs that you want to apply for and look at what clouds they ask for and learn that one.
Yeah, and I would say focus on more cloud agnostic skills first. So like networking, Linux, databases, scripting, stuff like that. Get your concepts clear, and then whichever city you're looking to work in or whichever city you're living in, search for cloud engineer and go through job postings. They always have, okay, we work with AWS or we work with Azure.
Yeah,
that's the best guess. And I think we should, I don't know, we should create a random cloud picker.
Yeah, random. It's learn to cloud.guide/picker, and then whatever comes up, that's what you have to learn.
Yeah.
Those comments always are. Yeah, it's always. I swear, I was in like the 6th page of Google results, and I go into some random forum. And it's like, just turn the power supply off. I'm like, all right, sure.
Yeah, I don't want to embarrass myself, but I had this issue. So when I built my new one, so new PC that was like 2 months ago, it had like Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth stuff. My old one didn't, so I had to buy adapters and stuff. So this one, like the motherboard supported everything, and I'm trying to connect my these headphones wirelessly, and I won't get anything. Like the Bluetooth is on. I'm like, why it's not discovering anything? And I go on forums and stuff and look for the specific motherboard. I'm like, why can't I connect? Why is my Bluetooth not working? Drivers were updated, Windows updates were done. And there's this guy or girl, I don't know, the username was very can't judge. And he says, make sure the antennas are connected. You get the antenna to connect to your motherboard.
Yeah.
And nobody upvoted it because people thought nobody would be as dumb to connect the antenna. And I didn't connect the antenna. I'm like, where is the antenna? And then I go check my motherboard's box. Thankfully, which I still, it was there, like a tiny antenna that you connect back. And I'm like, oh my God. And then everything worked.
And it's just plug and play. You like screw them in and then it works, right?
Yeah. And that was what was like, I'm like, I can turn on the Bluetooth. Why it's not discovering? And then same thing with the Wi-Fi. But yeah.
We usually wait 2 years to upgrade to new operating systems. Windows 11 has too many bugs right now. Plus, everyone's still using Windows 10 and some old systems are still using Windows 7. A lot of healthcare industry, which is where I used to work back in help desk, they use Windows 7 like everywhere just because it's like stable and there's like compliance stuff. So I'm in no rush to upgrade. Also, shout out to KevTech. Have you checked out KevTech IT support? He has like a massive channel. It's all around like help desk, sort of like sysadmin skills. It's really great. So if anyone wants to like learn the skill set for those kind of roles, check them out. I'm so torn between sysops and DevOps, and I feel like at some point it's all DevOps as we all wear many hats anyways.
Yeah, I think the boundaries are already getting too thin between sysops and DevOps.
What is sysops? Like sysadmin? Like
yeah. Like cloud sysadmin, cloud operations. I don't know.
I guess sysops, would I guess be more admin than DevOps would be like proper DevOps practices. Yeah, it's all DevOps as we all wear many hats anyways. But then you also have like dedicated DevOps engineers, right?
Yeah, and I like we talked this before, and think in the past too. Like it depends company to company. Like I can totally see a difference where I'm working at. Like we do have like system administrators, and they do a lot of scripting and like a lot of on-prem stuff. Whereas me being a DevOps engineer, I only play with public clouds. so it depends company to company, because even with DevOps, it can be on-prem. Like you could install your own hosted version of Jenkins, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I think it depends.
It's always in tech. It's always it depends. Will Azure overtake AWS in the future due to more enterprises using more of Microsoft? I don't think so. AWS has just like years and years and years ahead of any other cloud. It's just going to be hard to keep up. I think there's different areas where Microsoft might like move forward, but I think they just have such a stronghold. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't learn Azure or that you should learn AWS. Really, it's like, though there's like a larger market share for AWS, there's still plenty of jobs in every single other cloud. No Oracle. I've never logged into Oracle Cloud ever, not even just to try or anything like that.
I did last year.
How was it?
Certifications.
Did you take one? You have an Oracle cert?
Yeah, I think. Let me open my Credly as we talk. Yeah, I think I have 2 or 1 maybe. 1. I went for their fundamentals one.
How was it?
Okay. A lot of the questions were like really cloud agnostic. So like, what is a PaaS? What is different between like infrastructure as service and stuff?
So it's similar to like the other fundamental certs, foundational certs.
Lot similar to Cloud Practitioner and AZ900. Even though I would say AZ900 goes in depth of Azure offerings, and same thing with Cloud Practitioner, which I didn't find as much with the Oracle. Like I don't know if it has changed this year, but my experience with it was that like
you took it last year.
Yeah.
Cool. How do you manage your time? Work plus studying, leisure time, and when it comes to study, how many hours do you spend on it? So I'm in a pretty interesting spot with like my study and my work stuff, because all my studying just goes towards the stuff that I'm creating at work, right? So I don't necessarily have like, I want to learn something that has nothing to do with work out like on my free time. So all my time that I have to like learn or brush up on things, I will do on my work time because it applies to work. And really right now my focus is like, whenever I do have free time, it's like, I'll come on here and talk. I'll stream, or I'll go play soccer. I'll go play video games, or I'll like hang out with a friend or something like that, right? So I don't have a dedicated study schedule, but back when I was like in a different role, I would probably dedicate maybe like an hour or 2 every day to learn whatever it is that I need to learn. Like at the beginning of the year was like the Linux essentials. I think I was spending like 2 to 4 hours every single day studying. And it would either be like, it was usually waking up earlier and doing 2 hours in the morning and then just like studying and then doing notes and making like blog posts about the notes 2 hours in the evening. But that's just my life.
Interesting. Yeah, I think for me, right now it's work and some content stuff, not a lot of studying. If there is any learning new tool, learning new skills, it's during work hours. But in the past, I would just spend like an hour a day kind of thing. But yeah, I think I'd like to have a schedule. I don't know. I guess I'm just built that way, is I need a proper routine, and then I follow that routine for like a month or 2 months. I know there has been some times when like family stuff gets in, I have to go back and stuff. But other than that, I think that works best for me, and that I would make sure like I have 1 hour time for like to spend on video games, and then an hour to play out, whether it be soccer or volleyball. But yeah,
I also like, I think I wouldn't necessarily say that I have study time now. It's more just like actively learning, because I feel like with studying, it's like a lot more intense focus. Like if I were to take a certification, I really want to take the AZ700, the networking cert. Did you see that? The new one? I really want to take that one.
Right?
I don't know. I can't remember. I really, really want to take that one, but I know if I take that one, I'm going to sit down and properly study every single day for a couple of hours. maybe I could build a series around it. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I really, it's like different, right? So, but if you're like studying where you need to probably focus, then you're gonna have to have some sort of routine or schedule, something like that. Let's see. I took it and it's too young and messy still. I think this is referencing Oracle Cloud. Huh. You guys done AZ 900 and Rishabh, you have both 900. I have 900. Rishabh has 900 and 104. And then Martel says we'll pass AZ 900, currently preparing AZ 104. Nice. I feel Azure will take over B. Will take over B. B what? Because before. Yeah, some companies still have on-prem service exchange. Some places have a hybrid environment. Really depends on the company. I honestly think the future is hybrid. I think every company is going to have some sort of cloud presence, and then there's going to be a lot of hybrid opportunities as well. So everyone talks about multi-cloud now. I honestly think the opportunity is with hybrid. Mm-hmm. And when you think of like, when you think on-prem, you almost always think Active Directory, and then you think Azure, right? Yeah. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. Azure is wonderful with on-prem. Yeah, see, like when you comes to identity on-prem, it's AD. It's AD all day, right? So there are many countries where cloud adoption is still very slow. What do you suggest for professionals who live in these countries want to move to cloud? I think we just like spoke on that. I think focusing on more of a hybrid approach. So then, your focus would be a little bit more on like identity, a little bit more on sort of like some administration, some on-prem system administration skill set. You can still very much develop your PowerShell skills or your Bash skills. What are some other on-prem stuff that you should probably know when it comes to like, I guess, cloud, maybe on-prem networking? Networking is something you can become very familiar on-prem.
Just huge. And identity, like you could also focus on security too, because when it comes to on-prem, it's you who will be managing everything.
Yeah.
So networking, identity, security, and scripting, and those won't go away even if your company decides. Yeah.
Ever, no matter what cloud you're using, those are like always going to be there. Oh, you can focus on like, we've kind of mentioned like scripting, but like Linux skill set or PowerShell or Windows admin, Windows servers skill set.
Yeah, and I think like you can still learn cloud by also learning all these things on the side too, and like I think you'll stand out when it comes to like when your country gets to a point when companies are adopting cloud. You'll be in like way better.
You'll be freaking fantastic position, right? Oracle wasn't close to ready infrastructure wise or testing in 2020. That was just like last year. Yep. That's interesting. Doing 104 now. Rish, any words of wisdom? Rish, any words of wisdom?
Just say it's a really broad exam. I don't think, I haven't published any notes on AZ 104. They're still coming. It's just so hard because it is such a broad exam. The only words of wisdom is don't just, if you are strong in one aspect of Azure, try to focus on things that you're weaker at. That's what I found. Like, I think when you get the test report, it tells you which section you scored really less.
Yeah.
And I had yours? Mine was identity. So
I feel like and I was thinking about this the other day. I was talking to a friend about how identity is one of the most boring things to study. It's just so boring. It's important. One of the most important things for sure. You can sort of develop an entire career around becoming like an Active Directory genius, but it's just so boring to work with. So I was trying, because I'm thinking about putting a series together just around identity, but I'm like, oh my gosh, this content is so dry. I can see why people avoid it. AWS hybrid is the future. That's where Microsoft will win. I think so too. But then when you think about like developer technologies, the hybrid doesn't really because then you have like things like serverless and hosted stuff that doesn't really require on-prem or hybrid aspect to it. And that's where other clouds that have like much more of a like loyal developer following are gonna come up on top. But like I said, for me, it's not necessarily that one is better than the other. It's like which area you're in, you might have more opportunity with one cloud, the other one. How do you know when you're ready to leave help desk? How many years would you spend in help desk? I spent 1.5 years. Rishabh, you spent
almost a year.
Almost a year.
Yeah.
You don't really.
It's
hard because it wasn't like I felt like, oh, I'm ready to leave help desk. It's more like I want to leave help desk now.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't that I was ready or not. I just kind of like took the jump. Like, all right, I'm quitting after 1.5 years in. I didn't necessarily.
I feel like if you're really like no reply, if you're really interested in cloud and you already are kind of at that tipping point, because I think the reason why you're asking this question is because you're at that tipping point. It's time to leave, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's not a necessity. Like, it's a good thing that people start in help desk. For me, I didn't know what cloud was. The only exposure I had was help desk. So that's where I went. And then once I figured out, you can be a developer, you can be a cloud engineer, you can be a QA engineer, you can be a UI UX engineer. So these were the 4 positions that I found out when I worked for that company in help desk. And I was like, okay, let me start shadowing them. And then cloud was the one that I picked. And as soon as I spent a year in help desk, I'm like, okay, yeah, cloud it is. And I'm going to just make the switch.
I could offer some like more generic advice, whereas in tech, most people tend to spend like around 2 years in each role before moving on. That's kind of just like a known pretty much fact. Like employers even expect like you to be in roles for like, about 2 years or so. So if you're around that mark and you're studying and you're like, oh, I want to make the move, then I mean, it's not going to be like weird, right? Because it's like what most people in tech, this space moves so fast. It's like, they expect people to move, and you are expected to also move where you want to go, right? Oh, here's a great comment. Usually you should stay in help desk for 22 years. If you're doing the same thing over and over again and you're not learning anything, then it's time to leave. That's a great way to measure it. Like if you feel like it's just repetitive and you're not challenged anymore, it's time to find a next step. It's awesome. One thing I don't suggest is being comfortable at help desk unless you like it. That's a freaking fantastic insight. See, go check out KevTech channel. He's like a lot of great content around help desk. Guys, have you already took the SC300? Rishabh, did you take one of these?
I took the SC900, the security fundamentals. Nothing past that.
Okay, so this one, identity access management. So this is probably a lot of Active Directory.
Yeah.
I would take certifications to force myself to learn stuff like this and like networking. So like the AZ700 and then this one, I would, because like I feel it's one of those topics where it's like it's hard to come up with projects. Like, how do you come up with an Active Directory project?
Yeah.
Right. But when you have like guided learning, like certification, like for example the C300, then it's a little bit easier to do that. When you get the AZ104, how much can you expect to earn salary-wise? Salaries aren't tied to certifications, which is why I hate those lists that are like top paying certifications, because it doesn't mean anything, right? Like I know, Rishabh, you mentioned you're close to 6 figures in terms of salary. I'm above 6 figures in terms of salary. I have like the AZ900 and some Linux introductory certification. Like if you go to those blog posts, are like, oh, this is how much these certifications like make. Like, it's not going to match, right? So like search it for your own learning, not for like anything else.
For sure. Yeah, for me, it's like I'm a good example. So the big jump in my salary happened last year, and I didn't had that many certifications at that point. And after the jump, I already have taken 8 certifications. I'm still sitting at the same salary. So
so for me, I had an expired AWS developer certification going from sysadmin to cloud engineer, and I had a 30% raise going there, and I didn't have any certs.
Yeah,
I got the Linux Essential one earlier this year, and then AZ900 like last year, but yeah, none of them have to do with like anything really. I don't mention certifications now at all on my resume or anything like that. So yes, their certs are not tied to salary. Identity is one of my strengths because it's what I do on-prem now daily.
Awesome.
When I was in the help desk gig, we had an on-prem AD, and all I remember is how old that freaking server was and how that console looked like when you're creating all the users. It looks so old.
Yeah. But that also makes it boring.
Yeah, that also makes it boring. Thoughts on the AZ305 change for the expert badge? I was talking to Mike at Cloud Skills. Shout out to Mike Pfeiffer. Absolutely love that dude guy. Very supportive. Amazing content. I think they're doing like a Linux bootcamp thing, something like that. So go check them out, cloudskills.io. He was just telling me because he had written a book about the 300 exam like 10 months ago, and he's like, Glenn, I can't believe it. I literally just wrote this book, and they're like obsolete now. I'm like, I had no idea that these changes were coming, right? I haven't really looked into them. I don't know if you have any thoughts on them, Risha, but
no,
I haven't been up to date if in the 305 for the expert badge. But I don't know. My general thought of like what we're doing with certifications, I like how like more specific we're going and more like in depth, mainly because we're also offering like free recertification. So obviously they have to like revamp the actual content and that kind of stuff and keep it updated. So I'm assuming it's a good move. Hey GBS and Rishabh, thanks for putting out tons of helpful content. No problem, man. It's our pleasure. If someone tells you they know Bash and Python scripting, what do you expect? That's a good question. I expect you to be able to. Let me think. You need to be able to deploy virtual machines with a custom image via a script. That's definitely like one of the easier examples. You need to be able to deploy like virtual networks with a script as well. Like you can provide some parameters for sure, but you need to be able to do that. You need to be able to reiterate over, like, I don't know, some infrastructure and see what needs to be cleaned up depending on parameters as well. So maybe it's like dates created or names or anything like that. Like maybe it's like, oh, we're gonna remove this one because it doesn't fit the criteria or something like that. You need to be able to, I would say, like gather some JSON output from some sort of command. Like for example, if you're like querying some virtual machine and you need to get the admin username or something like that, you need to be able to query the JSON and pull the value and save it to like an environment variable. I think stuff like that. What else? Some Python scripting things. I guess those are kind of like both for both of them.
Yeah.
You need to be able to use grep. You need to be able to use pipelines, stuff like that. When it comes to like
Those
Bash.
are good ones.
Yeah, definitely. You need to be able to give very, very specific output from something, which is where like grep comes in handy and things like that. What are other things? I feel like if you go to learn2cloud.guide, we have some. I feel like I wrote down some examples in there of like what you should be able to do. So I can't remember them right now, but check that out. Let's see. I really love identity. Things like PIM, entitlement management, conditional access. Wow, I've never heard anyone say that. Yeah, it's a good. I guess it's a good skill set to have because it's like most people don't like it because it's not like, oh, the new thing. It's not Web3, you know. But let's see what else we got here. Doing help desk for about 8 months as apprenticeship. Already find it boring. Ooh, not sure where to move, but already preparing Azure certs. Yeah, I mean, at least always be learning on the side. That's for sure. Like I think I was a couple of months in and did the help desk gig where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Because like once you figure out like what your day-to-day tasks are, it'll be like rare that you'll find something that's completely out of the blue that you don't know how to troubleshoot. It does happen, but it'll be rare. But you know, that's why you have your time outside of work to prepare and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think for me it was also like that 7-8 month mark, even though I didn't find it boring just because the type of support I was providing was based on a product. So you would every now and then see an issue which might be a bug, so you have to go to QA or dev and they would explain, so it might not seem as boring. But yeah, still, if it's repetitive, I feel like it can get boring. And on the side if you're learning. I think that makes you going. And once you feel ready, I think you can make the switch.
Yeah, Kev says good. One thing I suggest is build a home lab on Azure, fix your resume, and talk through job recruiters and fix your LinkedIn profile. I recently did. It's on my channel. I recently did a LinkedIn stream with Chloe, where we go through like both our LinkedIn's and kind of like what you should sort of mimic or copy, and stuff like that, like good practices and things like that.
Yep.
You can go check that out. But yeah, definitely update your resume, update your LinkedIn.
Went through the resume thing too, so go check that out too. Yep.
And then the week that's coming up, so Tuesday, the week that's coming up, we're doing some resume makeovers. So come on and check that out.
Are we open to share our resumes?
If you want to.
Okay, cool.
If you want to, I'm pretty sure we could find some space to do it. How? Hold on, there's so many questions here. Wait, hold on. I got A+, Network Plus, Security Plus, and I have no CompTIA certs in the past 6 months. Now I'm working on getting AWS Cloud Practitioner before then going to Solution Architect. That's good guided learning, at least. So I feel like some people will be like, they focus too much on one area, but like when you have like a range like this, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
My goal is to get a junior AWS Cloud position. If you're learning stuff and like getting hands-on, you probably get you get a decent entry-level gig. Those entering into the H should have drive and passion. Will get them more in the long run than certs. Not that certs aren't valuable. It's always that question. It's like, how do you learn when you're beginner, but certs aren't valuable, but I need experience, but no one will hire me. That kind of like it's like ultimate.
And the egg.
There's no like secret to it, really. Like one cert was enough for me, and one was enough for you because you got a cloud practitioner, but that doesn't necessarily mean that'll work for everyone else, right?
Yeah, and the times were different, right? So
absolutely, like cloud certifications a couple years back were like, if you had one of those, I was like, you were the top, but
yeah.
But now it's not. It's just not like that, right? Also been doing the Linux Upskill Challenge to begin learning that. That's awesome.
Boris, my man.
It's a little inside joke because
yeah,
I remember that
I'm gonna
day
get some snack. I'm just gonna hop off the stream and get some snack. Wait right here.
Okay. So I've known Rishabh for like years now, and he's always been like a super chill dude, like super mellow voice, always, no matter how happy, how sad, whatever it might, he's always been like that. So Boris has this joke of like, oh, he's that way because he doesn't eat or he's hungry, so he's always like low energy. But no, he's just always like a super chill dude. I like that cloud certs are more affordable than other certs. Nice. See, little power snack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like cloud certs. So yeah, I also do like the pricing. I think, and then I really, really like that I'm biased, that we're doing recertification for free, and all the content that you need to recertify is also free. So that's great. But yeah, they're definitely more affordable than like there's like some certs are like $300 out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. How old are you guys? I don't know. Do you want to answer, Rishabh, how old you are?
Do you want to answer?
I'm 27.
I'm 24.
You're 24?
Yeah, I just turned.
You're a baby, dude. Month. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize you were that young. I thought we were like, no, I knew you were younger than me. I just didn't know how much. Interesting. I didn't know that. Well, look at that, guys. We learn. Do you guys like Fatboy Slim? I feel like this person always asks this question. Fatboy Slim from the UK. I don't know who that is. Is that like a musician or something? Rishabh, do you know?
I'm just Googling it.
I'm planning to do the Cloud Resume Challenge to have some hands-on experience for cloud to put on my resume. Do you think it would be good enough to start getting interviews? It's a solid project to do, that's for sure. You're gonna get hands-on with a bunch of cloud stuff. I think the thing that's gonna stick out the most on your resume is the experience that you have. Depending on what kind of technical experience you have and how you're describing it on your resume, or what kind of experience in general you have, pairing that with a project like the Cloud Resume project is definitely going to be like a solid bonus. But when it comes to like asking, like, is it enough? It really depends on like what your resume looks like right now, right? I don't think you can just have like, oh, the cloud resume challenge on your project and it'll be enough. There's like a couple of factors there. So you said you don't mention certs on your resume. Do you put them purely on a way to self-improve and learn, or are there cases that mention them on a CV is helpful? Yeah, so I don't put them on a resume because I have enough technical experience and like work experience where the work experience speaks for itself. Plus, I have YouTube that kind of like sticks out and that kind of stuff. But if you are sort of like more like just getting started, certs are definitely something that you should add onto there, because there's no reason to leave them off, right?
Yeah.
And
I think it's a lot different when you have a couple of years of experience, and also especially for Gwen, her brand speaks a lot about herself. So
yeah, if you're like getting started, for sure keep them on there. Like, and I'm never gonna say like don't take certifications, because I personally plan on at some point taking more certifications, right? It's like don't get obsessed with taking them.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I don't want you to do, right? Let's see. Oh my goodness, there are so many in here, dude. The more you let's see. In your help desk jobs, did you not have access to routers, firewall, servers? Were you just troubleshooting user workstations like printers? So in my help desk gig, I had it was pretty much like workstations, phones, printers, AV, video kind of stuff. No firewall, no networking stuff specifically. Like I had the opportunity to watch the network engineers, the infrastructure team work on their stuff, but I wasn't doing that directly. There was a little bit of like some PowerShell scripting and stuff like that, and some AD stuff, but nothing like too in depth.
Yeah, for me, especially, so my internship was IT admin. So I did patch servers and like patch or look at routers and stuff and configuration. But when I was offered the help desk, it was completely software support. So we had a SaaS, and someone asked what is a SaaS. So it was software as a service. So I was supporting that. So clients or customers would reach out to us saying that, hey, your software is not working as intended, please fix it. And we would fix that. We would deal with routers, firewall, servers on the client side just to make sure our software works, but not internally. Like, I didn't manage any of those. Yeah, that was my experience.
Yeah, but not to say that you wouldn't do it. There might be some depends. Like, it really, 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 really depends. Like, so help desk is also one of those jobs where it's like it's so different for each.
For sure.
Yeah, and but it's also, since you have exposure to like literally the entire company, you could also like, kind of win your way into like being on someone's good side, and they'll like might teach you a thing or two, might show you a thing, or might even let you work on a thing or two, right? Did you guys already have the opportunity to check out the AZ140 configuring operating Microsoft? I feel like someone asked us about AVD last stream. Were you on the last stream? I can't remember, but they had mentioned this certification. I'm like, I haven't heard of it. I haven't done anything of it, but I can see how virtual desktop is going to be something that like takes over.
Yeah.
What entry level should I be looking for? I'm currently a sysadmin. Sysadmin is not an entry level role. I think you're talking about entry level cloud roles. If you're a sysadmin now, you could get into like a cloud support engineer, cloud admin, cloud operations. What are some other like entry level? Even cloud engineer, right? If you're a sysadmin and you have solid scripting skills, you could probably potentially get into like a junior cloud engineer kind of gig.
For sure.
Yeah. Startup help desk. Teach yourself something on the side. Do labs at home in your time off. Document in some sort of way. Apply for next help. There it is, yo. There it is. That's honestly it. But like the thing is, like, the hard part is putting that into like how much time it's going to take you, because I feel like everyone, it's like how long, and yet when you're learning at the beginning, you get extremely frustrated with like nothing's happening. But then like for me, it was like all of a sudden, like I landed an interview, I landed this, and then it kind of just like kept going. But it's extremely frustrating at the beginning. But this is it. We need to like frame this, dude. I can rest. Here we go. The help desk burnout is kind of useful because it'll motivate you to move on. Yeah, and it takes a certain kind of like person to like use that to motivate themselves to move forward, because some people will just be like, KevTech was mentioning like getting comfortable and like they'll just stay there. I knew people who were in help desk for like 10 years more.
Yeah.
Like entire careers that helped us. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but if you're someone who wants to move on, you're gonna have to kind of like dig into. It's like, you know how people say like heartbreak is like the best motivation. Like when you get your heart broken, at least you can like turn it into something that'll just change the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. A little too, kind of a weird like example, but it's kind of like that. Age is just a number.
It is. We'll talk about nightmares in tech in some other stream, but yeah, I have a really interesting story to share with bias and age stuff.
Oh, we can get into that a little later, but like when you're younger in the field, you can expect to be like, people are going to be condescending.
For sure.
And I don't think that ever goes away, to be honest, because there's always going to be someone who's older than you, more experienced. But especially when you're getting into started, it's rough, man. I had some rough situations there. Today I'm playing with AWS in SpinMaker. You know what that is?
No idea.
Hold on, I'm gonna post on this, see if we can get more.
Spinnaker.io, cloud native continuous delivery. It's an open source. Yeah, it was created at Netflix.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Netflix is going through a little bit of a rough week. I don't know if you heard.
No, in regards to like work related.
No, and like someone got fired about something. I don't really.
Yeah, like workforce related stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, no comment on that. I'm just saying it's interesting.
Yep.
Oh, I had some others. Oh, no. We'll talk about offline. Awesome project. What project?
I think AWS and Spinnaker.
Oh,
maybe.
Holy God, hold on. I'm getting lost in these comments. Be prepared to describe it and its interworkings to the TI. How do you deal with people that strongly believe that cloud is not safe? Do you think that the lack of knowledge on it let people think it's not safe? Has anyone ever told you that the cloud is not safe?
Me? No.
Yeah. Have you ever heard that argument?
I've heard people complain about being public, but not. I don't know. Like from a security perspective, yes, I've heard people tell me that it's not safe. But then they would go and use something else that is still cloud, but they just don't know it's cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the thing is like, so, you know, these enterprises, companies that make billions of dollars, they use cloud, right? And if it works for them, why can't it work for like, you know, smaller individuals and things like that, right?
Yeah.
There's no way to avoid it, so it's more like, let's figure this out. There's ways to be like to increase your security in the cloud for sure. Open source over everything. That's interesting. A little bit of an interesting statement. The thing with open source is like when you think of it from a business perspective, it's hard to like turn it into something that's, you know, because it starts off with like people giving their time for relatively very little money. Because I think the issue is like the like when you hear open source, you think free kind of thing, right? So your expectation is like, this is going to be something that I don't pay for. Even though it's the wrong thing. Open source just means like the source is available, open.
Yeah.
Right. But like I've heard like from a bunch of open source developers where they're like, you know, our fan base or whoever the people who use our consumers like expect so much from us. And then when you try to charge them like a subscription, you charge them for a feature, like they'll be like, but you're open source. It's like, but that's it's not the same.
Yeah, I think GitLab is a good example. I think they went public this week.
They did?
And they're all open source. I think they're valued at $12 billion now.
GitLab. Wow.
Could be wrong on the numbers, but GitLab IPO. Yeah, $11 billion.
Oh my goodness. They're open source?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
completely open source. Yeah.
Well, then look, then clearly I don't know what top. Clearly you can make a good amount of money, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like around it's like a misunderstood culture thing. I think
Oh
that's
yeah,
where I'm
yeah,
coming from.
yeah. No,
Um,
definitely.
Which cert is best for cloud security, or is one even needed for cloud security? So there are no certifications required for anything in terms of cloud. We can start from there. Really, you just gain search for your own knowledge and learning kind of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
but you should know like cloud security.
I think every certification out there has some sort of aspect in terms of cloud has some sort of security aspect to it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a little section of like 10%, or depending on like the DevOps one might have more, the admin one might have more, developer one might have more.
Yeah.
And then you have specifically like for Azure, you have the SC, right? It's the SC certifications.
Yeah,
That are
the
security and compliance certifications.
Yeah, they are more role based, and then you also have AZ500, which is Azure security, like whole exam.
Mm, yeah,
So those are some good certifications.
yeah. I would say. Then you have stuff like Security Plus, but I don't think those are like specific to cloud. But then
Cloud,
again,
yeah.
I don't think that like I don't think it's a necessity for it to be specific to cloud, because the concept of security will apply on-prem and inside of like any cloud platform you want to use. So if you want to go for a certification in terms of security, it might be best to go for like something that's agnostic.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a security expert, but that's sort of my 2 cents. You guys say stay in help desk for 1 to 2 years, but I feel it depends on the MSP company you work at. To be honest, I work at a small MSP and I have access to all infrastructure, so I'm kind of happy staying longer. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, ultimately it's up to you, and that's why it's like so difficult for me to provide advice. So like, it'll take you a year to move, it'll take you 2 years to move, because it could be sooner, it could be later. It's all up to you, really.
Yeah.
If you like your gig and it's like it provides you what you need, stay there for however long you want, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing with job titles. It's like I was also, I don't know what the exact title was, but in help desk, but my job is completely different, as it seems to based on your comment, to what you have at your company. So
yeah, like roles in tech and in cloud, it's like the role title is not going to tell you really anything about it. Like I was a cloud engineer doing full stack development, doing solution architect stuff, doing sysadmin stuff,
yeah,
and I was really happy there, like because I was like all over the place, but at that time in my career it was great.
Yeah, and on the other hand, I was a cloud engineer and only dealt with infrastructure, so it's different.
There you go. Help desk too generic, because you might have access to Active Directory, you might not. You also might be a jack of all trades and have access to everything. Help desk, so it depends on the company. Yeah, I think this applies to every role in tech, though. Maybe not every, but a lot of them, especially in the cloud space, with it being one of the newer fields. Yeah, my biggest issue right now is coming from a non-IT background and was supposed to start a job as a network operations center analyst, but it's been the longest pre-employment period ever. A lot of those analyst roles are also super entry-level friendly. Network operations center. Oh, NOC. That's what NOC stands for, right?
Yep.
Network operations center. That's also great. In terms of like security, I think those are pretty entry-level friendly roles, but it's been the longest pre-employment period ever. When I was starting at Microsoft, it was like a month of like I had accepting the offer to actually joining because of like pre-employment stuff. Oh my goodness, dude, what a fuck! I think I told you about this, but it was like such a pain. Would you say Oracle Cloud is niche? And if so, how niche? Like, what type of companies would you? I don't know anyone who uses Oracle.
Yeah, I think I was talking to someone, and this is Southeast Asia. They they had a couple of companies, and he's a consultant, so he's one of my friends, and he said there are a couple of companies that are already like have contracts with Oracle. So I think it's somewhat popular there, along with Alibaba Cloud. So I guess it depends on the region.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It like, for example, Azure in the, like where I used to live in Connecticut was super popular, like a lot more popular than AWS, just because of the company's based there. So, nah. I would say it's niche compared to the other ones, right?
Yeah.
There are some interesting comments in here that I'm trying to avoid. I've been playing with Bicep, and it's made it easy to get a hand on infrastructure as code. It's interesting you bring up Bicep because I'm planning on doing some sessions around Bicep in January. I met with someone who she's a network and something engineer in Malta. But she does a lot of Azure stuff, but like Azure Stack, Azure Edge, and a lot of infrastructure stuff. And she's like really well versed with ARM and Bicep.
Nice.
So we're trying to put together a series that, like, we'll do it in ARM, and then we'll deploy some infrastructure in ARM, and then we'll also deploy it in Bicep.
Nice.
We're still like figuring out the details and stuff like that. I think Bicep is very promising, and it's like, so it's like what infrastructure as code should have been. But yeah, we're glad it's here, right? For those who want to get into cloud, do you think so? Jenkins, Puppet, Chef, Ansible is so much important and depends on the field you want to get into cloud?
Guys, for those who want to get into cloud, do you think learn skills like
Puppet, Chef, Ansible? That's configuration management
for Linux. Especially Chef, I think, or Ansible, one of those. But yeah, I would say, I think we have said this enough. Go with the fundamentals first, and then pick and choose tools that are. So if you look at the jobs that you're seeing in your job market or your city, see which tools are most commonly used. And the knowledge is so easily transferable. So I've had some experience with Jenkins, but we use TeamCity as our CI/CD tool at work, and it was really easy to like change my CI/CD tool from using Jenkins personally to TeamCity. So I would focus on that. So like, I don't know, whatever is popular, pick one, learn it, and there'll be really similar tools out there which you might find in your new job.
Yeah, you got to base your learning around what kind of roles you want to get, right? Because like for a cloud developer, it doesn't really matter like to pick up these skills. But if you're more on the operations side, more on like the DevOps related side, then yeah, it definitely does. Any tips, any advice on documentation, like writing documentation, reading documentation?
Yeah, I'm a huge advocate of documentation, whether it be personal, professional, work related.
And that's like absolutely, it's one of the like skill sets that I got in help desk, creating documentation about literally everything, because it's like it's very much like the cover your back kind of thing when it comes to help desk. It's like you have to log every single aspect of your tickets. But I'm glad that I did like a year and a half of doing that, because like now my documentation is like it's like really good. And then there's also the aspect of like public documentation in terms of like the projects that you're doing online, whether it be blog, YouTube, whatever it might be. That is also fantastic for your portfolio, for your brand, and that kind of stuff. So we're big fans. And then there's also the concept of using documentation. I think when it comes to like troubleshooting, your go-to should be the manual, should be the documentation, right?
Yeah. And I think it helps not only like with new hires, but like in my case, I documented repetitive issues that I was seeing. And then would just send a single page document to the client and be like, here is the steps to fix this, instead of like writing it every time. But yeah, I think I had really good experience with when it came to new hires and I had to train them. It was super easy based on how much content you have documented in whatever tool you're using. So yeah.
Boris says, he clarified, there was a huge delay in the chat. What I was talking about saying awesome project is the resume challenge, and that if you include it on your resume, you should be prepared to recite how it works to the T. Okay. Thank you, Boris, for that clarification. Yeah. Again, we stand by the resume challenge, the AWS version, the Azure version, whichever one you want to do, because of the amount of things you're going to be doing, services you're going to be touching, but also how difficult it is. It's pretty hard. It's well documented now, like I can't imagine being like one of the first ones to try to figure it out, right? But luckily it's like there's so many examples out there. So how much Python do you all know? Is there a specific online course that you found especially helpful? Wondering if I should seek out like Python for scripting use course or more broad Python course? Rishabh, is Python like your most used language?
It was not now. Um,
Now
but
you're
yeah,
what, YAML guy?
yeah, a lot of YAML, YAML and HCL. That's where I live in. But yeah, I think I took this was back in 2018. I took the free code camp, intro to Python. I think it's called. I don't know. I'll probably link it down later in the comments.
Mhm.
And then one with a Cloud Guru. They had one called Python scripting for sysadmins, something like
Ooh,
that.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
That course is so. But okay, so I'm biased because I used to work there, but that course is so good because the instructor is so he knows his stuff and he's
Yep.
such a good teacher. His voice is so soothing. What is his name? Neil? I think it's Neil. Something like that.
Yeah,
That
it
is
was
a
2 years
fantastic
ago, but yeah,
course. Fantastic.
sure.
And then I know there was an update to it.
Mhm.
Because there was like for Python 2 and then Python 3
Mhm.
version. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have great
definitely check that
labs
out.
too, so like you'll really get hands-on and stuff, and you're not just watching a video and coding on the side. Like they have really good
Mhm.
labs where you will be assigned certain tasks that you have to complete in order to get your lab done, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool.
How much Python do I know? It's not my main language. I did some like a couple years ago to like to create some like internal tooling to interact with like Azure Key Vault and stuff like that. But because I know .NET or because I know another programming language in general, I'm pretty sure I could like find my way on how to like build anything really. It wouldn't be
Yeah.
the most efficient, but it would work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey guys, how much of networking should I know to work as a cloud engineer?
I can't put a value to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Like knowing is the more you know, the more it's better.
Again, I'm going to base this answer on what is your job requiring? Because, like, again, me as a cloud engineer, it wasn't that much networking, but it could be a lot more. Yeah, it's right. I think in order, you should at least know. So if you go to again, us always plugging our guide, learntocloud.guide, go to the networks phase, which is the first one. Make sure you can accomplish all the tasks that are in there, and at least be able to do that. Right. That's what I'll say for that. Let's see here. Our Linux admin just moved to an internal Oracle Cloud role. It's for a government contractor. Interesting. Oracle Cloud role. Yeah, I don't know anyone who does anything Oracle related. But then again, that could be just because I'm so like in the AWS Azure space.
Yeah.
Are you multi-cloud skilled or just one platform? It's important to know more than one cloud platform. I'm one platform kind of person. Rishabh. I think you're sort of multi-cloud.
Yeah. It depends on your company. For me, it was AWS for the first 2 years, and now it's all Azure and some GCP. I just don't have the bandwidth, but I think that's the 3 major public cloud platforms that our company deals with, and we need to be skilled in those 3. So yeah, it always depends, and it's pretty easy to translate the knowledge that I had in AWS to Azure and GCP. It's just the terminology that changes, like the actual service names, but the concepts are basically the same. And I deal a lot of it is CLI stuff, so I don't have to go into the UI, figure out where, I don't know, a bucket is in Google Cloud. So it's pretty easy, I would say, for me at least.
I know Azure pretty well, and if I had to find my way around something, I've used AWS and GCP before. I really like how GCP organizes projects. Really like it. Don't like how AWS handles it. I don't think it's a thing at all in AWS. Yeah, I could find my way. The only advice I would say here is like if you're just getting started learning cloud, stick to one. You don't need to be multi-cloud unless there's a job requirement.
Yeah.
You guys looking forward to Microsoft Ignite? That's next month, right? I mean, just because we're like preparing like some stuff around it, I'm just like a little bit like, oh god. But it's cool. It's a cool time. You know, it's conference season. You know.
Yeah.
Hopefully this time next year we're back in person. I would love to like go to Build, Ignite in person, all that kind of stuff. CubeCon was just going on, and I saw the like pictures on social media, and I was like kind of jealous that I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But
reInvent is in person. That's also in November, I think. AWS reInvent.
oh, that's right. It's in Vegas.
Yeah.
Do you know anyone who's going?
Some people. I saw some tweets, people mentioning that I'm going to reInvent, who I'll be seeing there.
Yeah.
My company unfortunately said no, just due to COVID stuff. We'll be coming from Canada, so it's a bit hard.
Documentation is super important. No one likes a person that puts resolve as the closing ticket and doesn't write notes. Yeah, because the thing is, like, later you'll like be typing like the issue, and then you'll see something. Oh, this one
issue.
they figured this out, and you go in and you don't see anything. It sucks. Like, don't be that person. Don't be that team member. Microsoft Cloud Society is a great place to find info related on Azure. I highly recommend Microsoft Cloud Society. Never heard about that.
It's like
I meant-
a Facebook group. I don't know, or like it's a popular.
Nice day in NYC, right? No, I'm not in New York at the moment, so I wouldn't know. It's supposed to like rain, like really crazy.
Yeah, it's raining
for like extremely hard the next couple of days or something like that. So I'm glad I'm not in town at the moment. Wait, which course? This is the Python development for Python scripting for sysadmins, right?
Yeah, I'm just gonna search it now.
It's on A Cloud Guru.
Yep. Python 3 scripting for sysadmins. Here it is. Okay. YouTube.
Here's a good question. What's the best cloud course you've ever taken?
Oh, me?
Actually, let me rephrase that question. What's the best educational content you've used in your cloud career? What's one piece of content you were like, wow, I learned so much from this?
I would say Stephen's Cloud Practitioner, hands down.
Wait, Merrick?
Yeah, Merrick.
I keep hearing about his content, and he just has like so much praise and stuff like that. I've just never had the need to dive into it, but
yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think I saw another. It was on YouTube. I think it's by Cisco.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really old networking video, and it just blew my mind. They used a lot of real life analogies to explain networking concepts, but that thing is amazing. To this day, if I have an important interview, I go through that video, and in the interview, if I am asked about,
give us a link.
Yeah, in the interview, if I'm asked on how DNS works or how this works, how internet works, there are those interviews. Yeah, I just use the same examples, and people just go crazy. Like, oh, this is the best way I can explain it.
For me, it's the Introduction to Linux for Hackers, the book by No Starch Press.
Yeah,
I learned so much Linux administration, so many commands. Becoming comfortable with piping and grep and searching and permissions and all that kind of really, really important with that book, because it's not like dry theory. It's actually like each chapter has like a really cool hands-on project that you can do. We put it in one of the resources in the Learn to Cloud guide.
Mm-hmm.
But man, do I love that book. I don't have it with me here, and I think it's at my parents' place. Actually, I'll have to bring it over to my apartment when I go back. But I love that book so much. I like highlighted the heck out of that thing. I wrote a bunch of blog posts. If you go to madebygps.com, all the articles that are related to Linux there are based off what I learned from that book. Really, really love it. You got a link here. You got a link to this. So this is the course. Hold on. I only have one screen, so I can't share screen.
Yeah, I tried commenting on the stream itself. For some reason, my comment didn't show up.
There you go.
I think it's my browser.
acloudguru.com/core/python3 for script. Okay, this is a solid course. Highly recommend. And then let me find the book that I'm talking about. Linux hacking. No, it's not called. It's like intro to
Linux for hackers.
And you use Kali.
Yep. Oh, Gwen's article about how Kali Linux image on Azure is outdated has helped me 3 times till now. Every time I do a sudo apt update, and it just shouts at me. It's like, oh, these repositories don't exist. I'm like, why? Then I'm like, oh yeah, Gwen did something. Go to madetbygps.com and there's the article.
I remember that. It was so frustrating. I'm like, this image is so old.
Yeah.
Here's another. So that's a good course there. You know what? Let me see if I can do a little share screen action. Hold on. And we can like look at these.
Mm-hmm.
Let me paste this in here. Hold on. The thing is, I only have one. We're gonna do a little replicate. Whoop. Stop. Hide. All right, cool. Here. Can you see that?
Yep.
All right, so this is that Linux course that we look at. They changed it, a Pluralsight company. I didn't notice that. So Python 3 scripting for sysadmins. Keith is fantastic. Such a delight. So you get environment setup, data types, control flow, basic scripting, intermediate scripting, libraries, pip and virtual env, planning, project structure, implementing features with task-driven development, features and distributing the project, and final steps. So it's great. Highly recommend it. You'll learn a lot. In terms of the book I was mentioning, it's this one right here, Linux Basic for Hackers. Let's see if there's a content. Yes. Let's make this a little larger though. You have basics, text manipulation, analyzing, managing networks, adding and removing. I think I did everything up until like this last. I think I did up to chapter 11, and I didn't go into these ones. I think I might have done. And then I skipped. I went to like 16. I didn't do the 17 one, but I did all of them until 11. And then on my website, I made blog posts about literally everything. So it's kind of like, this is the first one. This is what Rishabh was talking about in terms of like what issue I had. Like I literally put this image as old, and then what you have to do to fix that issue. And then I kind of just created like summaries about the stuff that I was learning. I learned so much from this book. I love this book so much. But yeah, you can check that out as well. Switch back to side by side. My website is just madebygps.com. Shout out Ghost. You have a blog, right? What's your blog hosted on?
Oh, mine. It's blog.rishabhkumar.com.
Are you use Hashnode?
Yeah.
How's that
I'm
been?
thinking to consolidate all of my projects into one. So like I have a personal portfolio, and then I also have blog, and then I also have notes.rishabh.cloud, which is basically all my cloud certification notes. And I want to consolidate all of those under just a one domain, like a one site thing. But it's a big project.
So you would just have like, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. To have my portfolio that also has my blog, that also has my notes, kind of thing.
Hold on, I gotta go through some of these comments because I feel like, what's the name of the Linux book? I didn't get the name. Yeah, I just shared it. It's in the chat. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks. Jeez, I work for the Secret Service. That's cool. I'm 40 and don't have good programming skills. Do I have a career before becoming pensioner? Thanks. I don't understand that question. Do I have a career before? Can you have a career? I don't understand that question. I'm sorry. If you could reword it a little bit, that'd be great. Did we miss any comments?
I don't think so.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Shout out to both of you for everything you're doing for the community, up and comers. No problem. It's our absolute pleasure. Do you use Quickie Labs?
Quick Labs.
Quick Labs? I thought it was like Quickie Labs. Quick Labs?
Quick Labs. Yeah. They are Google's partner for providing Google Cloud stuff. So labs and stuff.
Oh, someone told me recently Code Cloud. Have you heard of Code Cloud? Like with
The
a
one
K?
with the K. Yeah. I saw
Code-
some ads.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of ads, but then he's like, yeah, I've been doing Code Cloud. I'm like, so I looked into it. I'm like, it looks really cool. It looks like a really, really cool website. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I've just never used it at all. But it's like pretty affordable. Like,
How surprising. Oh. $150 for a year.
what do you get for that? Do you get like
All premium courses, all premium labs. Yeah, so you get labs and courses.
so it is like a Cloud Guru competitor kind of thing?
Yeah, but also, so you have closed captions support for English, Hindi, and French. Pretty good.
Interesting. Shout out to GBS for mobile friendly site. Ghost. I didn't all I did was like write the stuff. Ghost.org is like such a great place to have a blog. I used to be like, oh, I have to build it from scratch. I'm like, I'm not gonna build this from scratch. I'm just gonna deploy one that I already have. I used to use a hosted on my own, like Azure VM.
Yeah.
But then I was like, it's worth kind of like I get like, what's weird, dude? So I get like thousands of visits on that site every month, and I don't have like ads or anything on it, or like I don't make money off of it or anything. But then I was like, I'm like, because I would look at the metrics, I'm like, I should probably just host this, like have Ghost take care of it, like I'll just pay whatever it is.
Yeah.
That way I don't have to worry in case it ever does like I don't know receive like peak amount of traffic or something like that. Wow.
Cool.
What cert do you guys think that every cloud engineer should or must have when it comes to Azure apart from AZ9? All right, so let's phrase it this way. If there was one certification that you would say everybody would have to have, what do you think it would be?
Solutions architect for AWS, AZ104 for Azure. Google has its own.
Whatever Google's equivalent is.
Yeah. Just one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. That's a good one. Will not having a degree in computer science hurt your chance of employment? That's hard because that depends on where you're at, right? Like when I was living in South America and Ecuador, if you didn't have a degree, there was nowhere you're gonna get a job. Rishabh, I don't know, like
it's pretty similar back in India, but here, I'm seeing a lot of shift more towards people having skills rather than having a degree. So
yeah, but I mean, there's a shift definitely. But like, if we talk specifically in the U.S. or like Rishabh's in Canada, will it hurt? I think if you think of like in general, maybe just because like there's so many companies out there, and a lot of them are bias source people who have degrees. But that doesn't mean that you can't get into the space. Like Rishabh and I both, like I'm a college dropout. Rishabh is. Would you consider yourself a college dropout? Because you're sort of in. Yeah, you would. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're both college dropouts. And we both work like I've been help desk, sysadmin, cloud engineer, training architect, and now cloud advocate. No degree at all. But that's not to say that I haven't been rejected because I don't have one. Like I've had plenty of roles where they're like, oh, we can't move forward. You don't have a degree. You don't meet the requirements. Or even when you just like go to check the box and then you hit apply, immediately getting a rejection because like, oh, you don't meet the requirements just because you can't check the degree box, right? So it's not like it's like, oh, like. Oh no, yeah, you're not gonna have any issues at all. No, but it's very doable. There are companies who are becoming more and more friendly of like not having a degree, but it's an obstacle. Like I'm not gonna lie.
For sure.
Probably. I mean, isn't it too late to start cloud or dev at 40? No, I wouldn't think so. Like, why would it?
Yeah, age is just a number, as KevTech said before. Oh, he said it again. Yeah.
I think there are some like there might be companies out there who will like want to hire like younger talent maybe, But then for every like company that's like that, there are also companies out there that will hire, you know, as long as you're qualified. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's, especially if you have like work experience that you can leverage. It doesn't have to be tech, but like maybe you were a manager somewhere, or maybe you were like a, I don't know, something somewhere. You can leverage that, right? Do you know how hard it is to set up your Windows terminal?
Not now. Like I love the new Windows terminal.
I was doing some Azure Cloud Shell stuff in it, not Cloud Shell, Azure CLI stuff in it.
Yeah.
It's so cool. You literally just open a tab and then it's there. You just log in. That's it.
Mhm.
Literally, it. No installing anything, nothing. And
Yeah.
oh, WSL 2. Apparently, like the improvements of WSL in Windows 11 are like insane.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard, right?
Yeah, I saw Scott's video on it and it was crazy.
He has a
So-
video?
Yeah, Scott Hanselman has 2 videos. One is for just for setting up Windows Terminal, as he has set up his own personal one, which is amazing. And then the other one was all in regards to like WSL changes coming with Windows 11, and now you can run WSLG, which will allow you to run Linux
graphics?
native graphic apps on Windows, which is again.
He has almost 200,000 views on this video. The guy is a monster. I look up to him so much. I gotta watch that though.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Okay, so how wait, what was the question? How do you know how hard is to set up your? I don't have any configuration to my terminal. It's just plain. But the thing is, like, it looks great plain, right?
Yeah. I think mine is also plain. I only have a set of like colored themes for Ubuntu, WSL, and then Kali.
Oh, I have the you know, the like when it shows the Git repo, like with different fonts or whatever.
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
different
yeah,
color.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I have that. But
Yeah, I
besides
think
that,
it's
I don't.
called Oh My Posh.
Oh my posh, yes.
Yeah.
Besides that, nothing else. It's pretty,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like a simple like a PowerShell command to get that.
Yep.
Where should I start as an absolute beginner to learn Kong, get certified in cloud? You should start here. Hold on. Where's the learn to cloud guide, dude? I was thinking, not that I would ever do this, but if we sold this thing for $10 on Twitter, can you imagine?
Oh, you mean the guide itself?
Yeah, the guide itself.
Yeah.
Cause like I see so many people just like selling ebooks on Twitter, making like bank, and I'm just like, why didn't I do that?
Oh yeah, I thought so. For the cheat sheets that I have, some of them
Yeah.
are really well versed. Like they're really good. Not cheat
Mhm.
sheets, sorry, the notes that I have. They're really
Yeah.
good. And I saw someone selling their kind of Git CLI cheat sheet for $1 or something,
Yeah.
and he made I don't know how many thousands of dollars selling it off because he has a huge following. So here's the thing: he has a huge following. I think he has 50K
Mhm.
followers on Twitter. So even if 10K people bought it, he made $10,000 right there.
Even if 1K and he sold it at like $2, look at that, $2,000, like nothing.
Yeah, and it's a single page.
Oh
Cheat
my
sheet.
gosh, bro.
So I don't know. Are we dumb enough that we're not monetizing this, or we just I don't know. We just care about the community and want people to get started.
We could have wrapped that up in a .pdf. Freaking made a fancy image of a book
Branding,
cover
have
branding,
personal branding stuff.
and then slap us at $5, whatever, and then made like compare it like 2,000 stars to like $5. Like, dude, no, I'm joking. It's a joke. Like, I don't really care about the mind map.
We should do that. I should start making cheat sheets
NFTs, dude. Cloud cheat sheets, NFTs
as NFTs. Yeah,
I think what a interesting world we live in at the moment with like technology and like the NFT space and all that kind of stuff. It's just, and then people making money online with the content and all that. I'm always, people need to make money, of course. I understand that, but it's also like, I think there's a fine line between All right, how much time did you think they put into that cheat sheet, and then they sold it for $1, and then they made like tens of thousands of dollars? It's like,
Yeah, I can make one
does
in
it
a
feel
minute
worth it? Yeah,
because I'll
dude.
just open his.
And you know what you should do? You open his, and then you do like the extra quick cheat sheet, and it's
Yeah.
just like you just summarize it and you sell it for like 50 cents.
Yeah.
Is it possible to be hired in the cloud field with just certifications and no experience into that?
Yep.
Yep.
Certifications and like don't have certifications, have a project that you can talk about in the interview and like just show them that you're able to work in cloud.
Mm-hmm. You could.
Yeah.
The hard part is landing someone to call you back when you have nothing on your resume.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you can have everything, you can be able to talk in the interview, but if you don't have like a solid resume or tailored resume or a good LinkedIn or something like that, like who's going to call you back? Right?
And that's where the project will also help, is have that on your resume and be like, hey, I used this service in AWS or Azure while building this. It'll help you.
Do the cloud resume challenge in all 3 clouds.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Or at least 2, because there's a GCP version now, so that's all 3 of them.
Nice.
And you'll be able to talk about that project in and out. I think for an entry level position, it's pretty good. For those who are not aware of what we're talking about, let me get a Azure Resume Challenge. Actually, let me just link to my GitHub. I'll have it on there.
Yep.
Let's see. I haven't done. I was looking back at the stuff that we did with .NET earlier for the real time demo, the Azure the Signal demo, and I'm like, man, I don't remember anything because I was thinking about like how I wanted to code over the weekend.
Yeah.
I think it's this one. Is it this one? I think it might be this one. Okay, here. View life here. Listening. There's a video as well for this. Let me find it. Azure Resume Challenge. Here we go. There, copy. All right, so here's the video for the challenge itself. Boom. And then here is the Git repo that you can go and do it for. And then there's a bunch more links in that. In that thing. Let me see. Am I missing? I feel like we're live on like everywhere, so I don't know if I'm missing comments. I realize that StreamYard does not show. So the number that we see in StreamYard is actually not like correct because it doesn't put in people who are watching on Twitter or LinkedIn. It's just YouTube.
Oh, okay.
So who knows if we're missing interaction somewhere. Dude, we've been live for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I was just like the time as soon as you mentioned numbers and I'm looking for numbers, I'm like, oh, wait.
Well, let's get the last couple of questions and we should be good to go.
Sure.
I'm trying to watch this new show that just came on Netflix. Have you seen You?
No.
No? Do you watch shows? Or do you just like always sports and stuff?
I don't, so sometimes whatever my girlfriend picks. Yeah.
All right, I think we got everything. Is it possible? I think we got that. You totally need to do the mind map as an NFT.
For sure.
That would be freaking
I just
fun.
don't know. Like I would have to learn how to create an NFT and stuff.
All right, let's call it. Let's end it. All right, everyone. Solid stream. I don't know when we'll do this again. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, peace out.